On this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast, we're sitting down with Dr. Marquita Blades to talk about AI, its uses in the classroom, its pitfalls in the classroom, and just try and understand this whole thing in general. Come on, let's learn together. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast. My name is Jordan, your host for this episode. On this episode, we have another host, Will.
Hey Jordan.
How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to start getting you into this whole podcast thing and have you a part of it.
I'm really excited. I've been behind the camera for basically every other episode, so I'm excited to be in front of it.
Yeah, I am too. Who are we talking to today? Who's our guest?
I'm glad you asked. Today we are joined by the great and wonderful Dr. Marquita Blades. Hello, Marquita. How are you doing today?
Hey, Will. Hello, Jordan. How are y'all?
We're doing good.
We're doing great.
What is weather like down there in Atlanta?
Right now, it is overcast.
Yeah.
Possibly going to rain a little bit today.
See, I kind of like those days. That sounds very soothing to me, to have just a light overcast, light rain. I know there's some people who may not like that, but...
Me, but...
Not when my to-do list is long.
Oh, okay.
This is lazy weather.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's very true.
So today we're talking with you about this great, big, giant elephant, artificial intelligence, and how it can be used in the classroom, and its kind of pitfalls, different things. I'm really interested to get into this topic because you see it everywhere, right? You see AI here, there. It's in my banking. It's in just what am I trying to say here? Oh, how like streaming services trying to suggest what I want to watch. All these different things. You hear the worst things. You hear the best things. I'm going to make an assumption that most people know what artificial intelligence is. But
it's kind of hard not to know at this point.
Yeah.
You know, it's so everywhere. I feel like I'm seeing it now in TV commercials. I can kind of spot it and know that was AI generated, you know, and different things like that. It's everywhere.
What are your overall, Dr. Marquita, your overall thoughts on AI in relation to school? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What do you think we're kind of looking at?
Well, throughout my career as an educator, I've always been about practicality, especially for teachers and how we can get students further faster. So in my eyes, AI is an excellent thing for schools, and we absolutely should be incorporating it into as many classrooms as possible.
Gotcha. What are some of the things that you see that, if it should be incorporated, what are some of just basically, we don't need to get into specifics yet, but like, what are some basic things that you see AI being able to help educators and students with?
With educators, AI is going to help lighten the teacher workload for repetitive tasks and those things that teachers put so much time into that they're now left burned out, tired when it's time to actually engage with students. So it'll preserve some teacher energy and get that time back so that they now can focus on building those very important relationships and spending time working more directly with the students. It's going to help the students just in terms of preparing them for all of the tech that they're going to engage with once they leave our schools. It's just a part of how everything operates. You all mentioned that everyone knows what AI is, and I would say sort of. Everyone has engaged with AI, whether they intended to or not, but they don't really know what it is and what makes it work.
That's honestly, I never really thought about it like that, whether they know it or not. You know, they definitely have engaged. Before we kind of dig deeper into this topic, Marquita, I want to ask you, what's your kind of, I guess, your journey in education so far, and what are you doing now? So let's just kind of know a little bit more about you.
All right. So I am about 23 24 years.
Wow.
24 years
That's
in
a
the
long time.
profession. It is a very long time. It doesn't feel that long because I'm always reinventing myself as an educator. But the first 16 years I spent teaching in K through 12 public schools as a high school science teacher.
Okay.
And since leaving the K through 12 arena, I've been working full time as an education consultant and also an adjunct professor at 3 universities.
Well, that's awesome.
And you have time for a podcast.
I do. You know why? Because I'm practical in my planning,
There you
and
go.
also because now I leverage AI. So
There you go.
yes,
That's true. What a great plug there.
yes.
Way to go.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, kind of getting back into the topic now. Is there anything you think teachers just need to be wary of for students if they want to start using AI in their school, really, or in their classrooms more specifically? I think we all kind of see that we're kind of worried about cheating, but is there anything else maybe educators should be worried about?
I'll say first that cheating should be the least of our concerns because kids have found a way to cheat ever since the one-room schoolhouse. So let's take that part off
I
the
have,
table.
for sure. That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Never
All
once.
Let's take the cheating off the table. Anything that teachers should be wary of is just making sure that students have good digital citizenship skills and making sure that we don't overuse AI and underemphasize some of those traditional skills that we know our students have always been lacking in.
Interesting.
I'll add to that. When I train teachers on AI implementation, I always tell them to analyze how you intend to use AI. Are you using it as a supplement or are you using it as a substitute? So if the entire lesson or the entire activity is AI, no teacher interaction, no peer interaction, no hands-on, no movement, you're using AI as a substitute and nothing's going to be accomplished. But when you use it as a supplement, when it's a piece of, when it is a tool for, in a company with, then you're using it in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I think that's a really good distinction. I know I haven't used AI a whole lot, but I do find that in general it's better to kind of, if I've already done some of the lifting already, and to just kind of help me get a little bit better to understand and not as a full substitute. So I like that of asking that question, are you using it to supplement or to substitute? Will, I think you looked up some stats on AI and different things. Just kind of curious about what some of those things are, and let's just talk about them.
Yeah, of course. As I kind of go through this, Marquita, I would also love to know your thoughts about any of these numbers that we kind of pull out. The first one was which feels, at this point, too far gone with how much AI is moving. But in 2023, we had a study that said 86% of students said they use AI in their studies. About 24% said they use it daily, and 54% said they use it daily or weekly. And even in 2024, we can see twice as many teens from age 13 to 17 who have ever used AI to help with their schoolwork. That number has doubled from 2023 to 2024. So who knows how big that number is now. But Marquita, I was wondering if you had any kind of thoughts about those numbers there.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that data or read any of those studies, but I can almost guarantee you that when they say they're using it to help with their studies, they're simply looking up answers to questions or scanning problems and allowing the AI to solve it for them. They're probably not using it to support any type of critical thinking. And I can guarantee you that the prompts that they're putting in are not sophisticated either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Was that too much? Was that
No.
That's what we want to hear here. That's what we want to hear. Yeah,
they think they are using it. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything until we teach them really valuable and meaningful ways. What are you really prompting for? What is the true answer to the question that you're looking for. What have you thought about prior to now that AI can assist you with? And I would say most students are really not looking that deeply into it.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I had something else too. This is kind of focused more with educators. This is again from 2024. We see that 25% of educators said that AI can bring more harm than benefit. If you could say something to that 25% of teachers, what would you say?
What instances are they pulling this from that it's going to bring more harm than benefit? I know that I was working in a boarding school back in January, which when you think about boarding schools, you think these schools have access to all types of resources.
Mm-hmm.
You also think of a certain type of student that they're going to be to a certain level of academic integrity. And what I found was the total opposite. The teachers were very leery about incorporating AI because they felt like all their students were going to do was cheat. And they also said our students are severely lacking in basic math and reading comprehension skills. And we fear that if we incorporate AI, they're never going to gain these reading and math comprehension skills. But we have to look at AI in the very same vein that we look at teaching reading and teaching math. You have to teach AI. You have to have an AI lesson plan, and you have to show students how to engage with it, when to use it, when not to use it. And if we're not taking the time to do that, then yes, it is going to cause more harm than good. But that goes back to the substitute versus supplement. And if you just put students on a platform and you don't explain to them what they're supposed to be doing, then nothing productive is going to come out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like based off what you're just saying, but I'd like to know more of your opinions on this, is if we don't show students how to use AI correctly, are you saying that there's more chance that they will abuse it, that they will use it incorrectly, that kind of thing? Is that kind of what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. I'm also saying demystify it. Y'all, we've seen in history that anytime something is taboo, people want it more. And they do tend to abuse it. But just like back in the day, y'all heard, I've been teaching for a long time. So I remember when people first learned about Google. So teachers immediately put in their syllabi, no Googling. And they put that on their assignments, no Googling.
I wasn't allowed to use Wikipedia. Wikipedia was the big baddie when I was in school. Yeah.
And you know what the first thing they did, run to Google, run to Wikipedia.
Don't use this. Go there first? Is that what I heard?
That's the first place they're going to go. And then they would put under their works cited page that Google was where they got their information. And we had to teach them. Google is not your source. It's just the search engine you use to find your source. We had to teach them. When we demystify AI, then the students are going to become less intrigued with it. Anytime we take something and we make it a part of the lesson, all of a sudden they don't want to use it anymore. So once we demystify it, we're going to eliminate a lot of the cheating and abuse.
I can definitely see that for sure. Yeah. How can educators teach students to verify these answers that they're getting from AI?
So some AI chatbots are created better than others, or some have features that are more supportive of an educational environment than others. So I think first starting by showing students the difference of the types of outputs they're going to get across platforms. For instance, giving the students a prompt and telling them enter the exact same prompt on Google Gemini, ChatGPT, and Perplexity. And now let's analyze not only the outputs, but now that ChatGPT has started to cite its sources and Google is citing its sources, but now let's actually go to those sources and let's verify the information, and maybe having the students do this, practice this 4 or 5 times so that they can start to see some data in which platform consistently gives accurate information. And now we know that when we're looking for this type of information, if we're working on a research paper, we go to Perplexity. If we're looking for ideation, maybe we go to Gemini and ChatGPT. If we're looking for a more personable output versus a robotic one, which platform we go to.
Sure. Yeah, I very much appreciate that both Google and ChatGPT now, it either gives you the sources or you can ask for the sources, and it kind of gives it to you and you can read it yourself. You can start to synthesize yourself. I think that's one of the things that I've really liked with AI is that I can ask a question and it gives me stuff back, but I can keep digging into it. It's almost just depending on the one that you're working with, it's a better search engine to just figure out where the information is coming from. And then at that point, it's not really different because you still have to vet those sources and make sure that they're accurate. But that's also really intriguing to kind of put AIs next to each other in a kind of battle and say, what is this one giving me? What is this one giving me? And cross-reference everything like that.
Well, what we're doing is then reinforcing the critical thinking skills that we constantly say our students don't have. But we're doing it in a way that they don't even realize that that's what we're asking them to do.
Yeah, that's great. Well, this has been a great conversation so far. We're going to take just a quick break. And after the break, we'll get into some of these more specific things that teachers and educators can use in their classroom to help enhance their lessons, to help help students understand subject material more and make some margin for teachers so that they can continue to build those relationships and everything. So hang out for just a second and we'll be back with Dr. Marquita Blades to talk more AI.
Earn professional development contact hours on AccuEd.com as you learn from the best in education. AccuEd.com is an online learning platform for educators with over 35 masterclass-style courses. That's more than 75 professional development contact hours you can earn on subjects such as classroom management, innovative teaching strategies, student engagement, and several more topics. AccuEd.com is full of practical, insightful training from K-12 thought leaders such as Pedro Noguera, Michelle Borba, Rudy Cafele, Barbara Colaroso, and Michael Bonner. Head over to AccuEd.com to get started. Come on, let's learn together.
Responsibility-centered discipline empowers students to own their behavior and academic success, creating a positive school culture. Responsibility-centered discipline challenges the old classroom management, reward and punishment programs, and consequences that rarely result in sustainable behavioral change. Schools across the country that have implemented RCD have seen fewer referrals, fewer suspensions, and a better school climate overall. Ready to make a real change? Visit giveem5.com. That's GIVEMFIVE.com to learn how to transform your school or district with responsibility-centered discipline.
Join us at the Innovative Schools Summit, the nation's top K-12 conference. Connect with internationally recognized thought leaders, educators, and consultants as we dive into game-changing teaching strategies and research-based methods. Each summit features multiple conferences all in one location, covering topics like at-risk students, innovative teaching strategies, school discipline, and more. Create your own learning experience by choosing from any of the sessions at the conferences. With events in cities like New York, Orlando, Las Vegas, Nashville, and San Antonio, there's always a summit near you. There are 2 upcoming summits, and we want you there. The first is in Las Vegas from July 7th to 11th, and the next is in Nashville from July 14th to 18th. Go to innovativeschoolssummit.com to register. See you there.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast. Me and Jordan are back with Dr. Marquita Blades talking about AI. Marquita, many educators feel overwhelmed by the increasing demands of their time. How can AI help teachers streamline their workload to get time back without sacrificing quality?
Well, as I mentioned just a little bit earlier, AI should definitely be the go-to for some of those repetitive administrative tasks that most teachers don't enjoy anyway,
Hmm.
like lesson planning or grading, especially if
Mm,
it's something that doesn't require specific feedback. If we're giving
sure.
short quizzes and check-ins, those should be automated. And then we devote our grading time to the things that really require us giving specific suggestions to the students. Other ways that teachers should be leveraging AI is for ideation, for reimagining lessons that we've
Mm,
done over and over again, but we're not getting the engagement out. We should be
yeah.
uploading those to our chatbots and saying, give me 5 new ways to teach this to a group of students who. And then we've got to put in a case analysis of who our students are. We should be explicitly telling the AI, I have 5 students reading on grade level, 3 reading below,
Yeah.
Mm.
and getting those ideas very, very specific and nuanced so that they speak directly to our students.
Yeah, I guess that's a really unique and helpful thing AI can do is to help you see things from a different perspective a little bit, or just where you can enhance things. I definitely had a teacher who had a binder that had like every lesson like in a day, and it wasn't that like she sat down at the beginning of the year and
Uh-huh.
like planned it all out. No, this was clearly from 15 years ago, and she's like, this is the way we're teaching this, and this is how it's working all the way through, never changed it. There'd be references to you could tell she put a lot of work into it when she first made it, but it had references to old bands or movies
Yeah.
or other pop culture things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was like 15 years ago. I have no idea what you're talking about. So using AI to kind of help elevate those or bring them at least current sounds like a great idea.
Instead of blowing dust off of
I'm
it every year.
laughing because my very first teaching job was in a department where the science teachers all got together
Mm-hmm.
and planned. But what planning really meant was that you take the folder of these prepackaged activities and it's your week to make all the copies for everybody. And I hated it. I
Yeah.
hated it so much.
Oh gosh. But yeah, and what's crazy is how fast AI can return those enhancements. It's like I'm
Yeah.
still typing it in and it's already churning things. Like, how did you read that so fast? Let's get into though some of the things you said that teachers can use it for grading, for kind of lesson plans, things that don't need a lot of feedback. Do you have a specific AI for some of those tasks?
Well, my favorite 2 platforms right now are ChatGPT and Magic School AI.
Okay.
Magic School is probably one of the most popular platforms when I train teachers. Out of all of the platforms I share, the majority of them have already used Magic School, but they're not using it in the ways that I suggest.
Okay. So what are the ways that
Interesting.
you suggest? I guess is the question.
Well, Magic School allows you to customize their tools. For anyone who is familiar with the platform, they have what they call magic tools, and these are essentially mini GPTs within the platform that
Okay.
have been programmed to perform a specific function like writing a lesson plan, creating a quiz, or generating questions from a YouTube video. Well,
Okay.
Magic School
Hmm.
allows you to customize those tools. So not only will I, if I'm doing questions from a YouTube video, I'm going to bring in the link to the YouTube video, but then in addition to that, I might upload some pre-assessment data so that now the
Mm.
tool
Mm,
knows how much prior knowledge my students are bringing in as they watch this video. And it's going to give me questions that will build on that knowledge or either fill the gaps that are already existing. And that's what I really love about Magic School, that other AI platforms, they're great and they have excellent tools, but they don't allow you that level of specificity.
So it makes it specifically for your students, or at least starts to tailor it that way. That's what you're saying?
It's almost like you're building your own AI, but you don't have to know anything about machine learning and
perfect.
and all of that. You're just uploading documents and telling it what you want it to know.
Gotcha. I just want to pause for a second. That any of the AIs that we're mentioning, we're not paid to talk about any of these. Just want to make that clear. These are just tools that Marquita, has found and wants to share with everybody. So just want to talk about that. We were talking about Magic School earlier, and I was really interested in this piece of it that you're talking about, of kind of like I hope I'm saying this right, kind of like an AI tutor as well for the students.
So Magic School actually has a tool that they call Tutor Me with AI.
Okay.
And you can use it as is. You can deploy it to students through their function that's called student rooms. You can create a room for students, only add the tools that you want them to engage with. You give them a link, and now they have access to this room that is filled with AI tools that you have selected for them for the intended activity that we are supplementing and not substituting.
Good. But, supplement, not substitute.
Okay. And so further, I could have also customized those tools before I deployed them. So yes, and going back to my reference to the boarding school that I worked with earlier this year, they went so far as to customize the tools for specific types of chemistry and physics problems that their students were struggling with. And within that customization, you can tell the tool, ask the students these 5 questions first before you give them an answer. So it's causing the students to engage and think and try some steps on their own, rather than just uploading the problem and having the AI spit the answer out for them.
Yeah. We also had another one listed here. I think I'm saying this right. I think it's eduaid.ai.
I was reading it as eduaid.
Yep,
I don't know.
Eduaid.
Links in the description.
Eduaid.
Yes.
Links in the description. It saves us every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that one maybe a little bit, or is that one you like to use or recommend?
I love eduaid. Let me say this first about eduaid. On top of it being a robust tool that allows you a lot of access under the free plan, it is also for us, by us. It is created by a teacher, the founder. Shout out to him. We'll put that in the description as well. He's very active on LinkedIn. Look at me, like I'm producing the show.
Yeah.
But he's very active.
Go ahead.
Very active on LinkedIn, and he is currently a classroom teacher.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. Okay, nice.
So he gets it. And that's for us. For years, teachers have complained about tools being forced on us and designed by people who really have no experience in pedagogy. And when you go onto eduaid, you will see that it has been designed by someone who is an actual education practitioner and professional.
Yeah, I literally just pulled up the website real quick, and it says the first and only teacher-created AI workspace.
Yep.
Right there at the front.
Yep.
Nice.
So what do you use eduaid for?
All right. So it is organized by categories and subcategories. I think what I love about it the most is that it has a lot of tools to support what I like to call old school teaching strategies. Some of the strategies that we have gotten away from, things like jigsaw and four corners and games like tic-tac-toe and bingo, things that were kind of analog that we've gotten away from because it's all about the tech. And I am a tech integration person, but as I stated earlier, I do believe that there has to be a balance of analog activities going on that are just hands-on, active kinesthetic things. And he has tools. I'm talking about the founder like I know him, y'all. But there are tools.
I believed you. I thought you did.
There are tools on the platform that will help you design activities that have to be acted out in person.
Oh, cool.
So I just love that.
So it's taken, because screen time is kind of a big topic too, of how much screen time should kids have and everything. So this AI can help you create non-screen time activities.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Wow. I'm going to just use this to entertain my kids.
Yep, have to create a bingo game.
It's Saturday and it's rainy. I need my kids to be occupied for an hour. What do I do?
Yep.
And learn something.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds really incredible, though, the way that it's set up like that. I mean, even just the way you were talking about it, like you can definitely tell it was made by teachers to be used by teachers. That's really special.
And then it has other functions like quizzes, debates. And so EduA gives teachers assistance with creating you go from very simple activities to the very high rigor activities. And it has tools designed to just help you create these things faster. I work with teachers all the time on student engagement. And they say to me, Dr. Blades, I want to be more engaging, but I don't have time to put a PBL case together, or I don't have time to design an independent study, which are the types of highly rigorous activities that we should be pushing our students towards. Well, EduA will create that for you. And now what are you spending your time doing? Coaching the students through that activity, watching them ask questions and become independent thinkers. And I think that's one of the main takeaways I want teachers to get from this interview, is that AI is incredibly powerful to get us there faster, but it does not have to replace all of those skills that our students will need in order to go out into the world and be successful in whatever field that they have selected.
I just really like the creating help that these AIs are, helping you do. I mean, I can't even imagine how much time that this is really taking away, that freeing up for you, not taking away, freeing up for you to actually spend more time in front of the students or working on the next thing. So that's really incredible. We have here ChatGPT as well. I think that's the most known one. I was wondering, what are some of the main things that you use ChatGPT for? What are the main go-tos for ChatGPT that you like to utilize it for?
Well, my most recent use of ChatGPT was taking a term paper assignment, and this is for my graduate students, y'all. I just felt like we had spent the entire semester writing papers to the point where it was almost the same paper over and over again. And I told them, I'm tired of reading papers. I know y'all are tired of writing papers. So I uploaded their final paper into ChatGPT. I asked it to give me 5 engaging doctoral level live Zoom activities that we could do that would still allow my students to demonstrate their scholarly knowledge, right? And that they could incorporate all of the readings from the semester. And it gave me 5 amazing things that we could do. I allowed my students to vote on the one that they wanted to do. Ultimately, they chose a PBL simulation. And so we spent our last Zoom meeting together doing a mock town hall meeting of school officials and parents looking to change the curriculum in a local academy. And it was amazing to see my students not only apply all of our readings throughout the semester, but then they were able to bring in their actual expertise as teachers into this activity. And I learned so much about them that I could have never gotten out of a term paper.
Yeah, I would say that ChatGPT is probably the most well-known. We use it here sometimes just to synthesize some information to try and learn a little bit more, or even creatively. I've heard about people asking it just, how can I explain this better?
Yes.
How can I explain this subject to this group of people or relations and things like that?
I also use it for what I call student responsive content. So with my graduate students, I read their papers, then I will upload my feedback. I usually like to give them 5 positives and 5 things they need to work on. And then I upload that into ChatGPT and I say, give me a list of next steps for this scholar. And it will suggest articles that I might want to suggest that they read. And these are things that I don't know all of the articles. I don't read all of the research. So it's a way that I can help them that I would never be able to help them if I just had to rely on myself.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for those very specific tools. That's something we definitely want to incorporate in this podcast, is not just talking about these good concepts and ideas, but actually being able to give and supply these. So that's fantastic. I guess the last question for you, Dr. Marquita, is I just saw this article over the weekend about how China is starting to implement AI education all the way in their, even down to their elementary school. So I just wanted to ask you what your kind of thoughts were around that, and then maybe do you think that's where we're potentially headed?
Y'all don't make me say something on here that I don't need to be saying, but I will say this. Is that somewhere that we are potentially headed? Based on what I see happening right now, I wouldn't say that we are headed that way. Do I think we should be? I think we should. There is a huge digital divide that already exists in this country that is, it's really alarming when you think about there are students who still just don't have internet access or consistent access to a phone, an iPad, or a laptop. And now we're adding on to that AI, and that digital divide is just widening and widening. I do believe that the earlier we can expose our students to these technologies, the more that we can get them off of the consumption side and onto the production side. Right now, we just consume.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near ready to create because we hide everything from our students. It's taboo. You can't use it. You can't know about it, which now doesn't create any type of curiosity about where does this come from and how can I contribute to the next set of tools that roll out? What problems can I solve using this technology? What gaps exist that I could possibly fill as the next creator? So we definitely need to be headed in that direction.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, how AI, it can seem really scary, but it really can open the door to learning a lot more and getting deeper and taking ownership of your learning. How much time we can reclaim with AI if you're a teacher to create, like we were talking about, creating lesson plans or do grading or anything like that. But then as a student too, I find myself, I'm not in school. I'm way past school age, but asking questions and the way that the AI responds makes me want to ask further questions and get farther and farther down and learn more and more and more. And I think that's the power of AI when harnessed correctly. It's just a tool, right? Just like a hammer can destroy or it can build. If we are teaching, which is what you are advocating for, is that if we're teaching how to use these tools correctly, it can open the floodgates to creating more, just being a creator opposed to just consuming, but also just understanding and getting deeper and deeper into knowledge and being able to share that and teach everyone. Dr. Marquita, I thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all these different tools. Real quick before we go, what are some ways that people can connect with you if they want to know a little bit more about either AI or any of the other things that you're doing?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn. I am Marquita Blades. Doctor might be on there. They can connect with me on I'm not sure. They can connect with me on Instagram. I am Powerful Teaching. Y'all see it spelled out. I do
Yeah, it's
know
on
how
a
to
banner
spell
behind her for
power.
those just listening.
It's an acronym.
Can you spell that, though, for those that are
It's
just listening and not watching?
Okay, POWARRFUL. It is an acronym. I do know how to spell, y'all. On Instagram, Powerful Teaching. I do have some summer intensives coming up in June and July where teachers can come to me for 4 days, and we're going to learn how to merge differentiated instruction, student engagement, and AI so that we can have a seamless school year next year or close to seamless. We know that we're going to have to do so much more with less this upcoming school year. So I really want to have teachers equipped to manage these trying times that are coming, and AI will be the way to help them do it.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
And we'll have
Thank
links
you.
to everything down in the show notes for everyone. But thank you for joining us. Will, thank you for being a host with us.
Of course, I had a great time.
It was fantastic.
I loved it.
Thank y'all for having me.
Of course, thank you for being here. Thank you for making this time.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast. I hope you learned something today about AI or just education in general. And if you did, I hope that you take this episode and you share it with your colleagues or your friends or whoever, really. And I'm not just saying that so that we can get the most likes and all this different stuff, but it's because we really want to help as many teachers and educators as we possibly can. And that only happens when you share with other people, or any of our episodes for that matter, anything that you've learned. We're getting to the end of this first season, and we've enjoyed making it, and we want to keep making these to help as many educators as possible. Teaching is difficult, teaching is hard, but like I say a lot of times in this podcast, that it's rewarded by the success of our students, and that's what we want to help you guys accomplish. So thank you for joining us on this episode, and we will see you on the next one.